Welcome everyone. I'm Amy and I am an NPC FitModel competitor and I'm also a nutritional therapy practitioner, and this is my peak week vlog. Oh, yikes. I will be on stage in less than 1 week. I am officially 5 days out, which is, again, I'm going to say it, it's crazy, but it'll all be over in a flash. So things I have coming up this week. Typically in my intro, I talk about my coach's feedback, but I don't have any. I've been checking in a couple times a week. As I mentioned in my last vlog, my coach is on vacation this week, so I'm trying not to bother him. He's basically said, don't change anything. So I'm not changing anything. I'm going to check in with him Monday, Wednesday, and I'm sure Friday. And yeah, we'll just see how things play out as the week goes on. But at least right now, weight is still sitting at that high weight, which is about where he wanted my weight to be, which is good. A little overshot of where he wanted my weight to be, but it'll probably balance out as the week goes on. So that's good. So no feedback to talk about. So let's just talk about what I have planned for peak week. I do work full-time outside of being a fit model competitor. So I have a fairly busy work week. I did block myself out on Friday. I actually am getting my tan on Friday at 1:30, really early. The downside of that, it's great, as I mentioned in my last vlog, it's great to get your tan early because you have a chance to dry before you go to bed. But the downside is it's like a 45-minute drive away from me, and that's also where the athlete check-in is. But athlete check-in doesn't usually start until 4. So I have to just hang out there. So I'll bring him a couple of meals. Last time what I did was I just went and slept in my car for a little bit, which was actually kind of nice, but it was really warm and sunny that day. And that's not supposed to be the case this week. It's supposed to be rather unsettled weather and likely cold and snowing on the day before and the day of my show. So I probably won't be hanging out in my car sleeping, but I'll have a book and just, talk to other athletes and just hang out, which is totally fine. Hopefully they'll let me check in a little bit early. Some shows they do, some shows they don't. They've got to make sure that they have all the stuff ready to go for all the athletes, so I get that. That's totally fine. So tan on Friday. The other things I need to do this week are to continue to exfoliate my skin. I have switched out to using only coconut oil as my moisturizer, which is what the tan company recommends. You should definitely check with the tan company for the tan, or the company who's doing the tan at your show, to see what their specific skin prep protocol is, because it might be different. But at least with mine, they want you to be exfoliating your skin and only using coconut oil as moisturizer, no deodorant for the week of the show. I don't use aluminum deodorant anyway, so that doesn't affect me. I just switch over to my coconut oil moisturizer, and that's really the only change I make aside from using my exfoliating mitts with every shower. The other thing I need to do is shave my entire body. Signs you might be a bodybuilder. Your to-do list includes shave your entire body. So shave my whole body. My fabulous friend and medical assistant is going to shave my back on Wednesday, which is great. It's not a good idea in most cases to shave the day of your tan, because your pores can be kind of open and you can get these little dots where the tan sinks into the follicle, and that's not a great look. And for some people, especially really lean male competitors, I've heard a lot of them say that shaving actually causes their skin to swell a little bit, which can kind of blur their lines. So definitely check in with your coach too to see if they have a specific day they want you to shave on or not shave on to maximize your look and also the tan. So I will do that. I need to switch out to all of my black bedding. I'm going to do that today. I need to wash my hair extensions. I did watch all the tutorials on how to wash and use the hair extensions, so I'm actually going to play around with those a little bit today and wash them. Basically, you wash them just like you would wash your hair, which is perfect. You wash them, you condition them, you put a water-soluble gel in them and let them air dry. That's easy enough. So I have all the things because, I have all the things. So that'll be really easy. I'm getting my nails done on Monday, and I'm also going to talk with Patty, who's going to be doing my makeup, about the difference in timing. So to see what she kind of wants to do. If it's easier for her, I'm happy to go to her house instead of coming to the studio, but she does work on Saturdays anyway, so we'll kind of see what she wants to do with the timing of my makeup. And pack my show day bag. I also need to find my gallon. One of the tips I've mentioned before on show day, absolutely bring your own water. So never plan on there being water available at the show. I've done several shows at this venue, and I know that they do now have a water filler station, but they didn't the first time I did a show there. It was in the fall, so school wasn't not in session, but they had these little kind of water fountains, but they splashed really badly. So I saw a couple athletes get splashed by them when they were trying to use them. So luckily I had brought my own water, but definitely bring your own water. So I always bring my gallon and then my full, like, my 40-ounce thing full of water. So I have plenty of water throughout the day, because it is a really long day and you may or may not be able to leave during the day or get more water. I think everybody thinks to bring a lot of food, but they don't always think to bring their own water. And if you're not drinking a lot of water, that's easy, but you should definitely have water with you. Bring your own water. That's one of my tips for show. So that's kind of it. Nails, play with my hair extensions, change out of my black bedding, shave my whole body, continue to use coconut oil, practice posing, practice posing. I'm getting there. I'm starting to feel a little more comfortable with the posing for sure. It's not going to be perfect. I hope that the judges will be somewhat forgiving of that, since it is, the first time that we're all doing FitModel, and just be a little bit forgiving if the posing is a little rough. So that's all I've got for this week. There are going to be a lot of check-ins, and then just all that other little, the last minute things and all the things to get ready for the show day. But if you guys have any questions about my prep or my show day experience, please leave those in the comments below. If you didn't watch my last week video, I apologize. I talked about the NPC seminar in my intro and my outro. I apologize. I did say slightly different things, so I left them both in. But that's this is the prep brain. It does get to you a little bit. Like, even though this is not like a super depleted prep, I still do feel like I'm making some of those prep brainy kind of things happen. Like talking about the exact same thing in my intro and my outro. I apologize. There are timestamps. You can always skip past stuff. So not sure what else is going to be in this video before the outro, but there'll be something. And I do appreciate you all for being here with me along the ride on my very first ever peak week for FitModel. I'm really excited. I really am. Just to get up there and do it. And now that there have been more shows for the season and seeing more competitors on stage, it's just really exciting to be part of a new category, as much as I love bikini. So we shall see how it all goes this week. And I will see you all here in whatever comes next on Peak Week. All right, so I wanted to talk a little bit about some things that I consider Peak Week essentials. These are all basic things, but just things you definitely, or at least for me, that I definitely need to have on hand before or for peak week, and that I use a lot during peak week, or just are really helpful. So the number one thing here is a posing suit. I do check-ins with my current coach, asked for check-ins Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so 3 times a week, but wants them fasted and post-workout. So like literally this is the top of my my Toxic Angels posing suit, and then just a bikini bottom that I've worn a lot. It's not like a bikini suit bottom, it's just a regular swimsuit bikini bottom, but it's gotten tan stained and everything. I've used it through a lot of shows, so that's the one I wear just kind of the whole week, just to keep it consistent. So I keep that just kind of out all the time because I'm putting it on multiple times a day. So that's the number one thing. And then also the week of the show, the peak week, you do need to be, and even maybe the week before that, so 2 weeks out, start doing some skin prep. I go with the recommendation of the tanning company that is doing the tan. They have a great little thing on their website where they go through all of the steps that they want you to take. But the couple of things that you definitely are going to need to do in some version is exfoliate. I really love these exfoliating gloves because they don't want you to use any oil-based products or like lotions the week of the show. I don't like using like a body scrub because most of them have like other oils in them because they're hydrating. So I just switch out to these. I got a pack of like, I don't know, 5 or 6 pairs on Amazon really inexpensively, and they last a really long time. So that's what I switched to using the week of the show. So every shower I exfoliate with the gloves, and I found this on my last prep, or on my last prep from 2024, this Bondi Sands body wash. It's a pH balanced body wash, and I found that it's really great. It works really well with the gloves, it foams up really nicely, and it leaves my skin feeling clean but not stripped, so it doesn't feel like super tight and dry. Because also the week of the show, the only moisturizer you're allowed to use with at least the tan that I do is straight coconut oil. So I also have this big bottle of just liquid fractionated coconut oil. The reason I get this one that's fractionated is because it stays liquid even at room temperature. So most coconut oil, like if it's if it's in a cold location or if it's not really warm, it's going to be solid, which just makes it a little bit harder to deal with. And since I'm not consuming this, I don't mind having the fractionated coconut oil, and it just makes it much easier to apply. So what I do is I shower, and then I don't even dry off. So I just get out of the shower and immediately put the coconut oil on when my skin is wet. So it just kind of, as I dry, it kind of soaks in. And it works really well. The day of your tan, you're not going to put on any moisturizer, so that day your skin is just going to be dry. But it's so dry here in Colorado, I can't go without any moisturizer. I do use it sparingly, like I use just as much as I need, but it's really great. And this has lasted me, this bottle is huge. It's like 16 ounces, and it's lasted me through numerous preps. It's great. So that's important. And then of course, the shaving component of it, you do have to shave your entire body. Even for women's categories, you shave everything, because that little peach fuzzy hair will keep the tan from sticking to your skin. So I attack shaving with multiple implements, and these ones I've talked about before, but these are the ones are my go-to. I have 2 products from Philips. So I have the Philips, this is the women's just wet to dry razor, or electric razor, and then I also have the Philips One Blade. This has become like my favorite shaving implement. I have to be careful with it because I can kind of cause razor burn with it, but you see how it has that really flat head? And it does oscillate, or vibrates really quickly. So it really does a great job of getting the hair down almost short enough where I wouldn't even have to use an actual blade razor. But there are areas of my body that I still do go over. So for the first time ever, I did try. So yesterday when my friend shaved my back, I had her just do the one blade everywhere. And then we only used the razor on my low back, because that's the part where my hair won't cover. So I'm really interested to see if we can tell the difference between the upper back where she just did the one blade, and the lower back where we did both. It certainly feels very smooth, and again, it's not so much that there can't be like little stubbly hairs, because those won't keep the tan from attaching. You just can't have any, longer hairs, because it'll just trap the tan, and then it'll look really splotchy. So those 2 steps first. So I first use the electric razor, one or the other, everywhere, and then the areas that I'm going to Bic shave, I love this is the Hydro Chic. I think it's a 5-blade razor. I have really sensitive skin, and what I really love about this one is it has like 2 connectors here. So you see that the handle actually can bend, and so does the blade. So it really keeps you from nicking yourself, which when you're really, really lean is really handy. I do end up cutting myself a little bit, because it's just so hard when you're shaving around like, your collarbone and even the top of your shoulders. Like it's hard to shave without cutting yourself. So as much as I can, that's why it's nice to get the hair basically off. And then I just have to kind of do a quick razor shave, like of my arms and legs. And I'll probably do my abdomen also with the blade. So basically everything except maybe my upper back and maybe the top of my shoulders, just so I don't cut myself. I'm hoping to be able to get everything down close enough with the one blade. So we'll see. The one blade is pricey, and so are the refill heads, but they last a really long time, and it's just so convenient. And this one works really well. It just doesn't get quite as close. So it's the traditional like foil style, I think is what they call this, a foil head. And I really like it for like kind of the first pass, like it knocks down hair really well, but it just can't get as close as this one, because you see the difference in how flat this one is. So it gets right up against your skin. It's completely flat, just completely flat. Whereas this one, it's kind of like rounded. So I feel like it doesn't make quite as good a contact with the skin. So it doesn't get quite as much hair off as the one blade does. So definitely pick the one blade, but you can get the one blade. They actually do sell them at Sam's Club. I've seen is probably the best price, especially for the replacement heads, but I just have them on Amazon Subscribe and Save, and I think a 4-pack is around $40, so they're like $10 a head, but they last a really long time. And when you need to replace it, it's kind of like a toothbrush. So there's actually it looks just like this arrow will start to show up underneath. You'll start to be able to see it through the cover there, and you'll know it's time to replace it. So they do last a long time, and highly recommend. I'm surprised they have not come out with a women's specific version of this. They still consider it like a men's razor, but I love it. It's amazing. And then the one other thing that I have up here that is absolutely completely indispensable on peak week. And just in general, when you are a competitor, prepping it all is friends. And I found this card actually yesterday or the day before when I was moving some stuff for the Comcast guy. It says, beautiful, smart, amazing, kick-ass human. And this was from my good friends. They gave it to me right before my last show. And it's so helpful to have, a support system when you're on prep, because it is different. And even though they don't do it, they may not understand exactly what it's like to be the athlete, the people who are around you, they definitely see you going through it. And I need a little bit of extra compassion and patience thrown my way during competition prep. And I am so fortunate to just be surrounded by really amazing people. So whoever those people are in your world, thank them, because they put up with you on comp prep, and it's not always easy. Prep brain comes for us all at some point. So those are my things that are indispensable for peak week. If there's any questions you guys have about tan prep or any of these things, please let me know. This is my posing practice from earlier in the week. This is actually going to be about 20 minutes of posing that I've shrunk down quite a bit, but a few things before I kind of got started. I was working on my back pose transition a little bit individually, and then just running reps through everything. I started to feel, like I said in the intro, a little bit better about it, but as you can see, I still do take some little pauses and kind of remind myself how to do things. And then once I kind of get it down a little bit, I'll show you guys a couple of slowed down versions, and then some more sped up versions, and then finish off with a slowed down version. And this is, when I slow it down, I won't have this long to pose on stage. So, you want to practice it at full speed, but I also do want to practice at, slower speed, just so I can kind of ingrain everything. But really on stage, you get 15 seconds, 20 if they're feeling super generous, and that goes by so quickly. So any of the times that I'm kind of pausing when I'm practicing, those have to completely go away. You don't get a chance to pause, and the time does start from when you enter the box. So the couple of seconds you spend walking toward the box don't count, but even here, I won't be able to pause very long at all in any of these poses. One final time through at slowed down speed, or this was my normal practicing speed. Still a lot slower than it'll be on stage, but a little bit of time to kind of just see how everything's looking. Don't love what I did there, but you nitpick everything when you're watching yourself back. And we're back. It is not quite the end of the week for me, because at the end of the week I am competing, but it is the outro of this vlog, and I think anything from show day is going to be in next week's video. So just so I could get this out on time, I figured it'd be easier just to do it a little bit earlier in the week and get it edited and get it out. So a little bit of a different week this week because it is peak week. Not a lot of changes this week. Actually, there have been 0 changes this week. My coach was traveling somewhat at the beginning of the week, but did ask for check-ins on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday last week. So I just kind of did the same thing this week. So sent pictures Monday and Wednesday fasted, and then Monday and Wednesday after my workout. Wednesday was my rest day, so I just sent pictures after I did cardio in natural daylight. And then I also did my normal check-in today, which is Thursday. So I'm going to go through that with you guys, because even though he did say that I didn't need to do like a formal check-in since we're checking in more frequently this week, he didn't tell me that until after I'd already submitted the check-in, and there's stuff in the check-in that is important, I feel like, for him to know, and also things that I will be definitely talking a lot about probably more next week. So definitely stuff to share this week for sure. So the very first question, issues with digestion, I said none, but I am going to expound on that a little bit more. The next question, how do you feel overall well-being? And I'm sure I put up pictures at some point when I was talking about my check-ins throughout the week. I said, I feel good, but my body is definitely having some issues this week. After the eye swelling last week, I developed a really bad eczema outbreak or breakout on my face that is really getting to my self-esteem. It's not great to feel like your face looks terrible every day. Going to make having makeup put on a challenge as well, because my skin is really upset. So the eczema initially started with just like one little patch and then spread really a lot. And the little patch that was there last week was just little, and it pretty much had resolved. And then, oh my gosh, it came back with a vengeance this week. And it's interesting, if you ever look up facial eczema, one of the main things that they talk about is mental health related things, because it does, when you look at yourself in the mirror every day and you have these like scaly red patches all over your face, that now I'm at the stage where they've become really flaky. It's not fun, and it's especially stressful when I'm dealing with having to put on stage makeup, and like, is the makeup even going to stick, because it doesn't like sticking to the eczema patches, and how is that going to look? And just, it's been a lot of stress this week, and honestly I think stress is probably what brought it all up to begin with. So it's one of those weird cycle things where stress is what brought it on, but then it causes more stress, so it just keeps happening. So that's been not great. And also just my eyes, my eyes have it a little bit as well. So it's caused like just some swelling around my eyes, and my eyes feeling really dry, and it's not been great. And I know that just, to me, I mean, whenever I think of something with the skin, and I will talk about this when I talk about digestion, the first thing I always go to when someone's having something like eczema or acne or any skin outbreak or rashes, hives, anything at all, I always look to digestion first, because our skin is our largest organ, and we excrete things through our skin. So what's going on with digestion is usually where I go to, and it really is where I go to with this as well. And I have cut everything out. So over the course of the last 3 weeks, I've cut out everything. I've cut out artificial sweeteners. I've cut out eggs. I've really limited, even though I don't have issues with eggs or gluten or any of those things, I still have taken them almost completely out of my diet. I'm not eating certain vegetables that I could be causing issue with digestion or bloat. So it's been frustrating, and I need to dig into it a little bit deeper, but clearly this is not the time. But it's been a bit distressing this week. So I've been dealing with that. Also this morning, this was weird. I woke up and I had these were new, I'm not sure, hopefully they don't progress. These red raised patches. At first I thought, did I get a little bug bite overnight? But then when I put my contacts in, and I have one on my side and one like on my abdomen, and they're just a little eczema patches. Like they start off like kind of red and bumpy, and so that hopefully the tan will cover those. The tan will cover them. Said hopefully those don't progress. And I said, other than all the weird skin stuff, I feel good and fine. And that's true, I do. I'm at my highest stage weight of all time by quite a bit, and that is concerning, but also probably a good thing based on the category requirements. And that is kind of a weird thing too. I'm not used to feeling like this going into a show or having my weight be this high going into a show. It's very different. So getting my mindset wrapped around like that kind of this new category, and we'll see. I mean, if the judges say that I need to lose fat or need to come in different, then we'll know. So for now, we got to roll with it because I've only got one day left. Next question, how's your recovery? What week of the mesocycle you're in? I'm in meso week 3, but I said I stayed at my week 2 weights and intensity this week. No soreness, did my normal cardio. Any issues I'm having with exercise? I wrote none. Anything else he should know? I said show day timing is a bit different than what I'm used to. And you guys know I talked about this, and I apologize. I talked about this in my intro and my outro last week about the show timing and about the NPC seminar. There's my prep brain thing, recorded basically the same intro and outro on different days. I said the show, they're having FitModel go first in the women's categories. The show start time is 8 a.m. for prejudging. Not sure of the show size yet, but I've heard it's small. Sleep has been good this week. And it has. I've actually been getting almost exactly 7 hours of sleep every night this week, which is really good for me, especially on peak week. I think I've been really pleased with that. So my sleep has been very good. And I think that's why my recovery's also been really good. So that's all been great. Stress, I put 5 to 9, like on a scale of 1 to 10. Like I've had work stress this week and just general other life stress. The skin thing is stressing me out, and all the show day things. So I feel like stress has been higher than I feel like it has been on any other peak week. And maybe it's just because this peak week is so different, and I don't feel like I've had a lot of direction as to what to expect. So I've not known what to expect, and I don't thrive in that type of situation. Like that's not how I thrive, but it is how I've been having to manage this peak week. Next question about appetite, how much water I get per day, my glucose. My glucose has been great this week too. I think that's also getting more sleep has been helpful with that, not having such high fasted glucose in the morning. Personal goals for the week, for next week, be honest, areas you could do better in. Number 1, I put show day. That's my goal. All the show day things. Number 2, I need to figure out what's going on with my skin. I may need to run a GI map after the show and plan on getting some updated labs soon. And 3, I just put some other general life things that I need to get in order. Don't need to expound on them. They're not things that Erin can help me with. So just some things I need personally to work on. Questions about bowel movements, how many times I go to the bathroom, training, pumps with training I put as a 7. They've been good. How does the training volume feel? Still a 7. I think that's probably what I put last week because it's like right in the middle of a 6-week mesocycle. So it feels hard, but it's not like impossible. So it felt good hard, but also very recoverable. Anything else you should know about training? Nope. Anything causing pain? No. My sleep score, which was actually good this week, it was 86. And then my HRV and resting heart rate, and then pictures. So that was it for my check-in this week. And that's why I still sent the check-in, because that was those are things, like I said, I feel like he does need to know. I don't know what's going on with my skin. I do think it just is a lot of stress, but also I am considering just running a GI map just to make sure that everything's good, even though I'm not having, that's the weird thing, I'm not having any digestive issues per se. I do feel just in general that I have a bit of a lower abdomen pooch that I don't love. It's not fat. And that kind of lower abdomen area is not so much large intestine as it might be some small intestine, but I'm not having any types of other symptoms of any type of IBS or SIBO or any of those things. A SIBO you can't diagnose through a GI map anyway. So if anyone does tell you that they diagnosed your SIBO through a GI map, that is not correct. That's not real. The only way to test for SIBO is through a breath test. So I don't know what's going on. And maybe this will all resolve itself after the show. I don't know, but I do want to dig into it a little bit deeper. And luckily, I am a nutritional therapy practitioner, so these are things I am used to digging into with other people, so I can dig into them with myself and try and figure out what's going on. So that was my check-in for the week. Other things I have planned for this week. So tomorrow I get to get tanned. My tan is actually pretty early. They only had a couple of time slots left when I booked my tan because, of course, I only booked it a week before the show. So I could either go early at like 1 or late at like 7, and I'm definitely not a late night person, and I also like having more time for my tan to dry, so I picked the 1:30 time slot. Check-ins don't start until 4, but that's actually kind of good that I'll have a little bit of time in between my tan and check-ins, because they sent out the kind of athlete information email yesterday, and in there, and I'm glad I read through the whole thing, so if you are competing in a show and you get communication from the show organizer, do read the whole thing. They want FitModel to wear their suits to check in. They said they will be checking them. They will not be checking other female categories, but specifically they did say they will be checking FitModel. So that's really good to know, because I would not have brought my suit with me. That's just not something I would have done, because they don't check bikini. So I'm really glad I read that, and it gives me a little more time to dry, which is good, because the tan, it'll rub off on everything. That's why I wear dark colored clothing. And even though, yes, it will get on my suit the next day, you know, you don't want to have to be putting on and taking stuff off that might mess up the tan. Like, you want kind of just like loose fitting stuff afterward. So it'll give it a few hours to dry. You know, it takes about an hour or so to go through the tanning process. So, you know, I'll be done with the tan by 2:33-ish, and then I'll have at least a full hour before I have to put the suit bottoms on to show the judge. So I'm actually really glad they're checking, because there was a show last weekend. It was either in Australia or somewhere in Europe where there were women wearing but they were wearing bikini bottoms. So they were not the FitModel cut. They were a tee back, you know, nearly a micro cut. Like, they were really tiny. Like, so I'm glad they're checking. I'd much rather have them check than be disqualified. I don't have a plan B. So if they don't approve my suit, I don't have a backup suit. I mean, I have, like, you know, actually, it wouldn't work because it has ties. I was thinking, because I bought the regular bikinis from Toxic as well, but they have ties, and you're not allowed to have ties. Every swimsuit bottom I have has ties. I mean, I guess my backup plan would be to go to Target and try and buy a swimsuit. I don't know. So I don't suspect there will be any issues with my suit bottoms. They are very big, and they are from Toxic Angels, who has been in close communication with Tyler and Sandy regarding the suit cut bottoms. So I'm not concerned, but I am really glad I read that. So I will bring my suit bottoms, make sure they get checked out okay. It is supposed to be snowing here all day today and all day tomorrow. Initially, there was snow in the forecast on Saturday as well, but now they're kind of backing off on that a little bit. But either way, it is going to be very cold. And I think I said it in the last video, if you don't like the weather in Colorado, wait 10 minutes. And here's a good example. So, you know, today we've got snow, and tomorrow also snow, temperature in the 30s, lows in the 20s. Saturday, they're now saying we might get up to 40 and hopefully not snow. Next Saturday, April 12th, 81. And it gets, you know, from Saturday on, you know, we get Saturday, then by Sunday we're in the 50s, Monday and Tuesday we're in the 60s, and Wednesday, Thursday, Friday in the 70s, and then that 80 on Saturday. So the weather in the spring, actually anytime if you're in Colorado, is unpredictable, but I've never had to deal with precipitation on a tan day. Oh yeah, and it just started snowing. Just started snowing just now. So there will be precipitation today and tomorrow that I'm just going to have to deal with the tan. Oh, I mean, it's kind of pretty, you know, the snow. So yeah, that's my plan. Everything else after that is show day. Oh, so it is really early. So I talked to Patty on Monday when she did my nails. I'm actually going to go to her house instead, since it is going to be so early in the morning. So our initial plan was just to meet at her nail salon, which is really close to my house, but I don't want her to have to just be there super early in the morning and then like waiting for hours between that and having, you know, her nail clients, because most people aren't getting their nails done at like 7 o'clock on a Saturday morning. So I'm just going to go to her house. It's out of the way of the show. It's like east, but it's not like it's that far east that I can't just go west, northwest again. But it does mean a lot of driving that morning. So it'll probably take me about a half hour to get to her house. And then from her house to the show, another half hour or so. So that's an hour of just time in the car. So it is going to be a very early start. The athletes meeting is at 7:30, but I can miss the athletes meeting. And the show itself starts at 8. I suspect, I mean, in a normal show, I would think I would be on stage around 10. That's still probably what I think, but I'll know more once I check in tomorrow. I'll get my number, my competitor number, and I can look at the categories ahead of me and see how many men are signed up, and then have a better idea of what the show timing might look like. It's going to be fun because I get to watch the natural competition in the middle, and then have finals. Final starts at 4. So, all right. I think that's probably all I've got for this one. next week it will be the show day wrap up and talking about how it went, which I'm excited. Never done a fit model show before, so this is all new world for me. So please, please, please spread positivity and light to yourself and everyone around you. Send me some good positive fit model vibes, and I will see you all here next time.